Okay, beloveds, it's Jem again. And as you know, I'm a psychic medium and I am an author and I am a conspiracy theorist. And I have channeled that no, we can't go to the moon. But where I land on that, and I watched the Apollo missions, I watched Challenger, and I watched Artemis too. This is my position. I don't know. So I don't fall into yes, we did, or no, we didn't. My belief is I don't know. But when it comes to the International Space Station, I also channeled about that, and you will find my channeling about the moon and the International Space Station on my channel. I uploaded it, but it said that the International Space Station did exist and that Earth is a sphere. So I believe the ISS is real. So I do believe that. So let's get on to my commentary. The ISS wire mystery. Why floating astronauts on strings isn't what you think. There's a moment that's been circulating online. A male astronaut it was a female astronaut floating in space. Then a split screen appears. Suddenly wires are visible. And the conclusion people are jumping to, they're being held up. It's staged. The ISS is fake. And there's also a video going around of a male astronaut, and it's a live feed, and it looks like he trips over a wire. But here's the twist. Those wires were never hidden. They were just misunderstood. Inside the International Space Station, nothing behaves like it does on Earth. There's no up, there's no down, no gravity pulling everything neatly into place. So instead of wires being tucked behind walls like in your house, they're deliberately left visible. Not messy, not accidental, functional. Astronauts don't just live in the ISS, they climb it like a jungle gym in zero gravity, which means those so-called wires are often power cables, data lines, air circulation ducts, and handholds, and Velcro secured routing paths. And yes, sometimes they grab them. Sometimes they bump into them. And sometimes, like in that recent clip that I mentioned at the start, they trip on them. Not because they're on strings, but because in microgravity, even a gentle push sends your body drifting. And if your foot catches a cable, it looks awkward and unnatural. Because it is unnatural. Your brain expects gravity choreography. Space ignores the script. Now, let's talk about that floating woman with invisible wires clip. This one gets people every time. Here's what's likely happening. Different camera angles, plus lighting, plus compression. Thin cables, hoses, or handholds can blend into bright backgrounds, disappear against white ISS panels, reappear when contrast changes, and become visible only when zoomed or reframed. So, when the video reveals wires in a split screen, it feels like a magician exposing a trick. But it's often just a change in visibility, not a change in reality. And this connects perfectly to the ESA and NASA footage I mentioned. Astronauts like, I hope I pronounce this right, Sunita Williams. Sunita is spelled S-U-N-I-T-A, Williams, have literally walked viewers through the ISS interiors, pointing out exposed cabling, airflow ducts, and modular equipment routing. And Thomas Pesquet, P-E-S-Q-U-E-T, has demonstrated how cables and ducts are routed for airflow and system management. Not hidden, not secret, explained in plain sight. Even repairs in space lean into this. There was an incident where astronauts used what was basically wire and pliers engineering to fix a solar array. Space isn't slick sci-fi minimalism. It's closer to a floating workshop held together with practical solutions. So what about the trip video where the guy trips? Instead of being proof of fakery, it actually lines up perfectly with how the ISS works. Imagine trying to walk without gravity, pushing yourselves with your fingertips, navigating a room full of floating cables. You wouldn't glide like a superhero. You'd bump, drift, and twist, and occasionally snag something. Now here's the deeper layer of this whole thing. Why do these clips feel fake? Because your brain has spent your entire life learning one rule: movement equals gravity. So, when you see movement without gravity, your mind tries to correct it. And when it can't, it labels it artificial, staged, wrong. But there's another force at play too. Modern video, compression, frame rates, lighting, digital artifacts. This can make real footage look like CGI. And once doubt enters the room, it doesn't sit quietly. It starts rearranging everything you see. So, where does this leave us? Not with blind belief and not with blanket rejection, but with something sharper, understanding the environment before judging the evidence. Because the truth isn't always hidden behind deception. Sometimes it's just hidden behind unfamiliar physics. Thanks, beautifuls, for watching. I do have to apologize. I had major dental work done yesterday and I've got a bit of a toothache. The tooth might need pulling. All right. So as I said, when I channeled, my channeling said, no, we can't, and didn't go to the moon. But where I sit on that is I don't know. When it comes to the ISS, I channeled about that too, and I really believe the ISS exists. All right. I ask that you drop a comment and do so respectfully. Do you think the ISS is real? And I've just explained those wires. Sometimes we think that because it's outer space, we have in our mind pictures. We've been exposed to sci-fi. And when the reality doesn't fit that exposure to sci-fi movies, we start to believe, well, it can't be real. Okay. Have a good weekend. See you tomorrow. Take care of yourself. Be kind to each other. Love, light, and blessings. Bye.